Now that I've spoken to the gentlemen, ladies, it's your turn. We as females have a nurturing nature. When we become fond or close to someone or we care about them, we want to make sure they're okay. We want to make sure that they're comfortable. We want to make sure that they're happy. It's just in our nature. It's our instinct to be nurturing and to be caring. But we have to be careful because there are some people disguised as men that are not mature. They don't have their thing together. And the only way that they feel that they can get their thing together, instead of just going to work and trying to build themselves like an average person would, they rather take the easy way out and charm their way into their lives. They see that you're building yourself up. You have more than what they have. It could be something as simple as a roof over your head. They could have came out of a situation or trying to escape a situation from a relative, or they could be escaping some kind of situation where they were in an institution or something, and they want to have a roof over their head. And instead of being patient and just staying with someone and trying to do it themselves, they would rather just say, I've got my own digs, when in actuality they're your digs. So you got to understand the survival instinct. There have been times in my life where I had plenty, and there were times in my life when I had nothing. And believe me, when I had nothing was when I developed the most character. Because I started to realize how important survival was. And the number one thing I learned, being surrounded by people who had nothing, they will do anything to make sure they get those basics. And when I mean anything, let your imagination roam. That's not restricted to women. It's not restricted to men. If you're worried about a roof over your head and you can't do it the decent way, they'll make moves, they'll compromise themselves and their bodies and everything else just to get a roof over their head. And if that means putting on the charm a little bit, that's what they'll do, because they know that they don't have to sleep on a park bench. And that's the truth. And see, if they charm their way into your life, then what they can do is, if they are looking to improve themselves, they're going to take their own sweet time. That is if. 9 times out of 10, once they get in with you, they're going to find excuse after excuse after excuse not to pull their weight. Or if they do go to work, they can't keep a job. They don't want to keep a job because they figure, hell, the pressure's not on me. I'm staying with my lady. All I got to do is keep her satisfied, and I can stay there and do whatever I want. If she goes to fussing for a little while, I'll go up and pick up a little something, but I'm not going to stay there. I'm just going to do it long enough to keep my mouth shut. Especially if she's living in a nice neighborhood, she's making good money, and the whole 9 yards. Now, don't get me wrong. I blame both of them on this. Because no woman should be so desperate that they feel that they've got to take care of a person's every single little need, and they're not doing anything for themselves. No, ladies, you don't do that. Don't be so desperate to do that your self-esteem shouldn't be that low. We're talking about people who have no desire of trying to help you. All they want to do is take. When you leave the house, there's no telling what's going on in your bed when you're gone. These are people that are not trying to make any permanent situation with you. They're not trying to make sure, and it's mostly financially. They're not trying to make sure that everything is intact. They're not trying to help you get out of debt. If anything, they're trying to help you incur debt, trying to get you to go get a bigger house when you still got 17 years on the house that you're in, and that house is just fine. They want you to get a bigger house. They want you to get more of this, more of that, more everything else. And you was fine before they came along. You wasn't looking for all this stuff. They want you to get more, but see, they're not putting up anything. Not a single token. They're doing it for themselves. Then they get around their little friends and talk about how the old lady will do anything for them. You wasn't lying then. Ladies, you have to do the same thing as I was telling the men. You have to sit down and meditate Time travel, do whatever you need to do, and think about all the hell you went through to get what you have. Think about that. Let those feelings return. And then open your eyes and look at that person and think to yourself whether or not you want that person to have part of it. You got to let that sucker go. There's nothing wrong with helping a man out of a temporary situation. I'm not talking about them because they know it's temporary and they're making moves. I'm talking about the con artists. I'm talking about the scam artists. And all they do all their life, that's all they do, is move from pillar to post. Couch surf. This woman gets sick and tired of him, he'll go somewhere else. And I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be long after he gets in your house. He's going to go get another one. Because he's working on an exit plan. It's going to be a matter of time when he's either going to get tired of you or you're going to get tired of him and you're going to put him out. He's going to go right over to her house and do this over again. He's a fuck boy. I know some men that are 50, 60 years old and they've done nothing all their life but be fuck boys. Now that's a sight. But they're allowed to do it. Lady, you got to learn how to protect what you've been blessed with. You're not in a position to try to start over. Be careful what you bring in your life to share with you. Just saying.